Hi, welcome to Tracy Momi Reads. Today I'm going to be reviewing a nonfiction book called Something More by Sarah Ban Breathnach. I know I butchered her name, sorry about that, but the book is called Something More. This book is old in two respects. Number one, it was published in 1998. And number two, I read it actually back in October or November, like 2020. It's one of my pandemic reads. And I had been listening to Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul podcast, and she had done some, like a couple of the episodes, they were like throwback episodes with the audio from her when her show was on the air. So she had interviewed this woman who had a book called Simple Abundance that became a phenomenon, and this was a follow-up book. And she interviewed the woman, and she posted a snippet of 25 minutes maybe on the Super Soul podcast. And just from listening to that, it made me want to go search for this book. And I was thrilled to have found it on Thrift Books for just a few bucks. But essentially, and I'll start here. The tagline is excavating your authentic self. So looking and digging for your authentic self, right? And basically what this book is about is challenging the idea that it is wrong if you are in a situation where you seemingly have it all. You are just super blessed, you have good health, you have a roof over your head, clean clothes to wear, food to eat, love of family. I mean, that a lot of people, comparing lives or comparing things that's going on in the world, you would think that person is super blessed and that they maybe have like the perfect life, right? If it's one free from any type of ailments, whether it be something mental, emotional, financial, right? So, and even if you're a person who's in that position, you think, I've got it made, I have no room to complain. And so you never even question or think, but am I happy? Or is there more to life? Because it's just, you feel guilty and shame for even maybe thinking that way because again, looking at other people's lives. And that's what we tend to do sometimes. We look at how well we're doing through the lens of comparing ourselves to maybe how bad somebody else is doing, that is just such crazy thinking when you think about it. It's just a very skewed way to think about your situation in comparison to someone else's, because the journeys were totally different, right? And that's what this author kind of explores in this particular book. And even though I think men would probably glean something from it, I feel apparent that the book was written, by a woman for women, right? Because most of the time as women, we're the ones that kind of fit into molds, like, where we take on these roles of wife, of mother, of caretaker, and different things like that. And that's all we tend to focus on or tend to be, right? Whereas I know men, they seem to be, like if you're a dad, you also, have friends and a life outside of that, or different things or interests that you're into, where typically women who are mothers, it's all about their kids, and the football practice and the taking them to this event, hosting the sleepovers, being the snack mom, and all this. And I'm not saying that's all women who are mothers. I'm sure that there are some who have active social lives as well, but I'm just saying in general, that's kind of how it goes down. It's like you make these silent sacrifices, and I know, again, a lot of women, they are more than happy to do it. They feel like it is an honor to be able to be there for their children, in maybe ways that some mothers can't be for their children, right? But I think that after reading a book like this, it kind of has you questioning, though, like who you are. Do you even know who you are anymore after you take on these roles, right? Because let's be real, you know, as mothers, because I'm a mother myself, and with a mother who has a son who'll be graduating high school next year, I mean, the children are going to grow up. They're going to get their own lives. They're going to have their own families. And if you've spent the better part of the last 20 years of your life or 25 years of your life, or however long and how many ages and stages your kids go through, if all you've done is like be in this mode where, you know, it was your life revolved around your kids, when they are gone, who are you? And what do you want to do? And what, because some women may be really young when their kids leave the nest. You know, what if you're like 42 and you're an empty nester, like, but all you've done is focus on your kids, you know? Or if you're, in comparison, if you're a caretaker and all you've done for the last 10, 15 years of your life is care for that, you know, elderly parent whose health was declining, and then, you know, God forbid they finally succumb, and that's all you've done. You haven't done anything else. You haven't really taken care of yourself or explored your own interests or done anything for yourself. Or if you're in a marriage, you know, and that marriage comes to an end, whether your spouse passes away or you get a divorce or whatever, and you've just been a homemaker, what do? So I think that a book like this kind of helps you explore who you are, what it is you like to do, what it is you have a passion for, so that you can explore and do those things now within the confines of being a mother, a wife, a caretaker. There is still room for you, you know, to explore your authentic self. And that's kind of what this book helps you do. There are so many gems in here. I mean, I'm a highlighter and underliner, and some people probably think that's blasphemous to do that to a book. But yeah, like one of the first things I turn to, I know life holds no guarantees for me. I am not promised tomorrow. I no longer take anything for granted. And it's so true, because even being a mother, you know, what if during that time you pass away before your kids are out of the nest? God forbid, you know. But a lot of people want to wait, okay, when the kids are grown, or, you know, I'm going to wait and make sure my parent has a peaceful and smooth transition, or after the divorce, or whatever maybe that magical date or time is. And this book really, I mean, it explores the notion of now, like being who you are now, and finding that duality and a way to, you know, kind of have both things, because you can be your own person and still be a mother. You can be your own person and still be a wife. You can be your own person and still, you know, be a caretaker. And if you're in a situation where you feel like you can't be, then there are some, I feel like there could be some issues there that you really need to explore. If you're feeling like you have to, you know, like choose or whatever. Yeah, and here's another thing. It says, I know that I am, and it is the most thrilling choice I've ever made. Why? Because I have no more time for regrets. Every morning when I wake, I ask my soul this question. If I died tonight, what would I regret not having done today? Do I need to say, I love you, I forgive you, I'm sorry? If I do, that's the first telephone call I'll make. So it's just things like that, where she talks about not living with regrets, finding things that make you happy. I feel a little tongue-tied even talking about this book, because it's therapeutic in a lot of ways, but it's also one of those things that I feel like everybody who reads it, it's gonna spark something, like a personal thing for you, right? I don't know that this book speaks in generalities. I mean, it does, but everybody's going to be affected by it differently. So as I'm trying to give a review of it, it may be being seen through the lens of my own experience in my own life, and then you may read it and be like, I didn't get that. What was she talking about? Or that wasn't that profound, because it's based on who you are and where you are at, you know, this time in your life. But there's just so much good stuff in here. And there's this one thing, I think I posted this as a quote on one of my social channels, but she talks about a woman does not have to be married and or a mother to even be a martyr. There are so many insidious ways that we betray ourselves. self-sacrifice is one of the more popular ones for women because it's condoned by society. And, she asked the question, what a good woman you are, offering yourself up on the altar of self-abuse. Do we get extra points for suffering gratuitously? How about with a smile? I don't think so, So, and as women, I think that we do that. We think that the more that we make ourselves available to people, that makes us a better person, even if we're not happy about doing it, and then later on you become a bitter old woman with all these regrets because you didn't step in or stand up for yourself when you had the chance. So yeah, I think that this is a book that everybody should read, but especially women. No matter, like she said, no matter your status, you don't have to be married, you don't have to be a mother. I still think that you will gain some incredible insight from this book, but I think that you should have your own experience with this book. So much good stuff in here. And the other thing is that really resonated with me in this book is, having had a milestone birthday last year, turning 50, I have always been a person who has believed in reinventing myself. Whether it's, even when I was younger, I got bored with stuff and it's like, okay, I'm on to the next thing. I mean, I was like in banking for, 7 to 10 years, like where I was a teller and a new accounts person. Then I went into human resources, starting in the recruitment side and being an assistant and all that stuff. And then I became like a human resource generalist, focusing on the health benefits for the company. And then I started doing the financial benefits, then I went back to school, and then I got into graphic design, and then now I'm an author. I have this online community. Like, I'm constantly, I feel like, growing and changing and becoming closer and closer to who I'm supposed to be and the person I connect with on the inside. And there was a quote in here from Madonna that said, I'm not reinventing myself, I'm going through the layers and revealing myself. I'm on a journey and an adventure that's constantly changing shape. So that, again, like, I think sometimes people think because they have this role or this title, that's who I am, that's all I can be. And I just do not agree. I mean, and maybe I'm thinking of this from a, new age hippie type perspective, but life it can be long and it can be hard, but it can also be so brief, especially if you are not doing things that bring you joy. And a lot of times the things that bring us joy may not have anything to do with our family or our, like, the actual job that we have, but it doesn't mean we don't love our family or that we don't like our jobs. It just means that we are multifaceted and there are other things that have nothing to do with anybody but us. And I feel like that's okay. I mean, we were all born, unless you're like, even if you're a twin or a multiple, somebody that has triplets, or, if your mom had triplets or multiple children at one time, each of you came out one at a time. So in that respect, like, you were kind of born and brought into the world by yourself, right? And more than likely, most people die by themselves. So it's okay, like, while you're living, to kind of explore who you are and take that time for yourself, And I don't know, I feel like maybe this was more of a psychological rant than a book review, but that this book talks about all of that, and it's just, it is so much food for thought. And I think that you will walk away with, such a different mindset about yourself, and realizing that it's up to you to also cultivate joy in your life so that you can present a happier being to the people in your lives. If you're like steeped in regret or bitterness, or that's going to manifest itself in resentment in your relationships, because you feel like you can't do anything for yourself, that has to be about everybody around you but you. So Yeah, I recommend, if you're understanding anything that I'm saying or if any of it resonated with you, pick up this book. It is a great read. You know, I love reading stuff like this. You know, like I've talked about, even in fictional books, I tend to gravitate towards books, and I've written books like this. I think mostly all the books I've written, somebody's going to therapy, and there's a therapist in there giving them a gem or a piece of advice, because I love exploring that type of stuff, and you know, talking about behaviors and why we do the things that we do. And yeah, okay, I feel like I'm rambling now, and it's getting on my nerves, so we're going to end it here. Something More, great book. Be sure to check it out. Thank you so much for watching and stumbling through this particular video with me. If you're someone who has read this book, or anything I've said today resonates with you, let me know in the comments. And I thank you for watching today, and be sure that you like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I will be back next week, actually, with another book review of a book that I'm reading right now that so far so good. It started off pretty good. Have a great week. Thanks.